Due to a copyright clause, the previous video could not be stitched. Yet, the video has a beautiful narrative. Please visit channel at Java Discover video titled Working and Homeless, The Death of the American Dream, Poverty in the USA documentary. Thank you.
Good day, guys. I wanted to just add something additional to today's video regarding universal basic income, though I did not discuss that on the other caption of the video because I wanted to just give a little bit of insight on where I see things going in the future as far as the American dream and the ability for American citizens or US citizens to be able to maintain employment so that they can afford basic necessities of survival, such as housing, electricity, food, their cell phone, things of that nature. What I saw or what I see is something where universal basic income may be something very real in our near future, right? With the corporations, they are really, really honing down on salary decreases. They're not keeping up with the cost of standard of living. It's just natural to understand that our federal government may move to this sort of income for the United States citizen. Now, I am actually reading from a website called Science Direct. I did not read thoroughly the details of this article, but something about the article just stuck out for me because it gives to me more details about how the universal basic income actually works. And I want to share that with the audience today. So some of the highlights, as you can see here, it talks about comparing a system of target transfers with one of universal basic income, the analysis of the different levels of generosity of universal basic income and the different strategies to finance it. Now, that's a really interesting component here, number two, because the analysis of when they state analysis of different levels of generosity of universal basic income, basically who's going to pay for it, right? Because ultimately, it's not something that I foresee being, coming from just one specific entity. Like, for example, you get federal taxes uh, paid back to you, there's state taxes, and all of these different entities, right, that corporations. These are the several entities where a lot of people get their incomes from, right? Or rather, I'd rather say wages because it's not income. Income definitely takes a totally different element of the accounting general ledger when you're dealing with accounting. Income works very, very differently than wages, right? So just for the audience sake, just to bring some knowledge to the table, is wages is basically what you do, your service that you provide, and in exchange, they give you a wage, right? And your wages is connected to your salary. Income is a lot different, right? Income is usually something that you obtain either through, let's say, an investment or something long-term, trajectory, like say if you own assets, buildings, boats, cars, things of those nature, that is considered income because of the range that that specific entity takes, the powers of that entity, right? Your wages go but so far, right? Usually when you work, you get a wage, you pay a bill. So there's no real power in that other than your sweat equity. However, income takes a totally different powers in dealing with accounting and general ledger stuff. So, yeah, I just wanted to share that with the audience so that they really have an understanding of the difference. And again, a lot of the stuff that I usually talk about is very high level in terms of knowledge and understanding. And it might, a lot of the audience may or may not get it, but this is what the whole instance of reaching out to me by email so that we can touch base on certain components that interest you. You also can leave a comment here on the video at the bottom. If you have questions, I do read my comments, so we can just get right to it. And hopefully I can answer your questions as they come along. The third part of the highlight, it talks about the account for the distortion in labor supply and savings, right? So there is some accounting going on, right? There is some debits and credits that are happening in terms of the labor force, right, at the federal and state level where they're analyzing Okay, how many people do we actually have out there who actually needs, who is working, right? Because anytime you build a business, right? You build a business, you have to look at your accounting, look at your income, and know what your debits and credits and your ebbs and flows are. So this is a natural state of business. Just know universal basic income is not a welfare system per se, right? Per se, meaning we're calling it universal. Yet someone has to fund this, someone has to pay for this. And what this article looks like it's going to talk about is how they're, whoever is analyzing this content and data, there is some knowledge that they have to look at how many people are actually out there in the job force, right? And number 4 talks about welfare implications of universal basic income in the long run and along the transition. So they're fully aware that there are some people in the masses in the our United States citizens who don't work. And how are they going to get them onto this universal basic income if they are, let's say, homeless or they have not held a job for long periods of time? So just know that these are details that are being looked into and being accounted for. And lastly, the general equilibrium consequences are crucial for the analysis, right? Because when you think about the ebb and flows of like, what is this going to cost us? What's the consequence of having all these people on this system? So what am I saying? When you think of universal basic income, comparing it to working a job. When you work a job, right, you go to a corporation, you sign a contract, you perform a service, they pay you a salary, that is your wages. You also get things such as 401k, health benefits, right? That includes the medical. You get other incentives like days off. All of those things are part of your benefit package, right? When you think about that part and compare it to what this general equilibrium consequences is going to more than likely go into, they're analyzing in this article, is it just about giving people income? Like what are the positive and negatives to this type of system? Because it is a system, like a caste system. And that's something that needs to be talked about. Because if you don't know what a caste system is, I really, 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 really would suggest that you go and first go define what it is to know that that is exactly the type of system that you are in. You're in a caste system, okay? And that's just the facts and the truth. So as I dive a little bit, go a little bit below here when they talk about the abstract, right? It talks about here, and I'll skip past the first sentence where it says, we explore varying levels of UBI generosity paired with different strategies to finance it. All the reforms we consider result in welfare losses for a huge majority of initial households. Moreover, these losses are increasing in UBI generosity. A reform financed with consumption taxes implies lower efficiency costs than reforms financed with income taxes, but few individuals benefit from it. So, what does it mean to be abstract? They're looking at it again as a system. Like, what are the positives and the consequences and the benefits of a system like this? And it's going to take time, right? To analyze all these different ebb and flows to know what is going to work and what's not going to work. Um, and that's pretty much what this paragraph is speaking to, right? When it states here in this line, paired with different strategies to finance it. Okay, paired with different strategies to finance it. That's a very, very, very important part because again, who is going to brunt this entire system to feed or to provide income, or I like to say wages, but you're not actually going to be working for it. It's going to actually be given to the American population. And for me, more so, what's so important is not so much as just bringing forth this knowledge of what I see from a visionary perspective. Wh- Where where is the where is the transaction, right? When you think of transaction, you think of give and take. You in exchange from one thing to another thing. And I'm saying in my mind, Well, here we have a system where they're going to give us universal basic income, which in basic means exactly what it is. It will be just enough to pay your rent, to pay your basic necessities of living, food, housing, and things of that nature. What about car notes? What about things that are absolutely not always necessary? And it makes me think about all the civil liberties that come with being a United States citizen, where you have the option to explore and go and purchase and do and create and have, right, the way you see fit for your life. And what does being on universal basic income actually really mean for the American people, for the US population? Is there some sort of restrictions that come with tying yourself into this source of income? It's definitely something to be considered and analyzed and to think about, right? Here, I'm not going to read the entire paragraph, but definitely here, if you would like to, you should visit www.sciencedirect.com and obviously in the search, put in universal basic income, and you can read the article in its entirety. But it's just something that I wanted to bring forth to the audience and think that it's a very interesting topic of conversation. It is something that I foresee many, many people talking about in the future. And basically, this article looks very high level. This type of stuff I do get as far as demographics and being able to understand time and households and when people are born and how many hours a week people work. It's a huge calculation that gets involved when analyzing how much does each household actually receive. So what am I saying? Let's make it real simple so I can make it clear for the audience. If you are married and have children, right? Let's just say the average household has two children. So that's a husband, that's a wife, that's two children, that's four people. Then when you look at the number of years that it takes for, let's say, a child to get from, let's say, birth up to 18 years, how much is calculated for that? Like, these are the things that this universal basic income system has to think about, right? Because if it's something that is perceived or is in thought to be the future of how I don't know if this is going to be at a world level, but I definitely see it coming here in the Western society, in the Western culture. They have to account for that. And I don't, and what I mean by account for it, they ain't going to give you extra $5 and extra $20, right? To make sure that you become that millionaire that you always strive to be. They're going to give you exactly what's needed. So I do see so much of different legs of commerce as far as the ability to survive, as far as your housing, your lights, your food, all of this stuff is going to be accounted for. I even see it basically being down to they're going to decide what kind of foods you're going to buy. So this is why I bring up this topic of conversation about universal basic income, because it's so much more than just where we are in this state. In 2026, a lot of us are trying to find employment. This is the dream that we were told, the programming we were said, hey, go to college, get a job, and we're realizing that this is not what we thought it was. Yet when the universal basic income does come, and it is coming, right? One needs to think and analyze, what am I tying myself into, right? What am I giving up to get into this system of income that will make sure that I have my rent paid, will make sure that I have food, and make sure that I have water and those things of that nature. But do I have the freedom to purchase, let's say, a bag of potato chips that I may feel like I want to have that day, or maybe I want to have a bag of grapes, right? And what if the system that funds this says, well, you know what, green grapes are no longer going to be something that we're going to allow in your income. If you purchase grapes, you scan your card, it's just not going to work, right? Definitely something to think about, guys. So again, please visit the sciencedirect.com website if you are interested in understanding how UBI is being analyzed. Of course, there are many, many other articles out there, but definitely this is a topic for the future. And listen, guys, this is not a black, white Spanish. This is about survival and economics and being able to know that it's not something you're going to be able to avoid. It's coming. However, I think the best approach is just to be prepared for it and to have an understanding of what is going to be presented to you in the future.
This is Matriarch Endeavor's YouTube channel. We welcome you. Thank you for watching.